Hello, my name is Jessica Swinmertson, and this is my submission for MAN5730 Human Resource Fundamentals, the video discussion portion of assignment 1. So today what we are going to be talking about is diversity management. Essentially, we'll be talking about the definition of diversity management, its implementation, benefits of a robust policy, and challenges associated with it. Diversity management is integral to an effective human resource management program. So what we'll be discussing is how the literature defines human resource management, the reasons in the way and why it is implemented, and the inherent benefits and challenges of a robust policy. So what is diversity management? There is not a singular definition of diversity management. One definition of diversity management in the context of human resources is a purposeful shift in, but not limited to, race, culture, and gender demographics of a workplace, resulting in increased inclusivity. This is achieved predominantly through hiring strategies. Another example of diversity management in the context of rapidly developing Asian economies is the way in which imported ideas are implemented and balanced with local traditions. Attempts to manage diversity and incorporate it as an organization ideology have been present as early as the 1980s. In the historical American context, this shift occurred in tandem with legislative changes and the increasingly globalized world with its diversified population and talent pools. An ideological shift was underway. The perception of diversity as no longer a weakness, but potentially an organization's greatest strength. The evolution of diversity management has been from a reactive to a proactive approach, an approach which seeks to positively influence a culture of diversity. The literature is not unified in its assessment of diversity management as a policy. Detractors point to the imperfect representation of women and minorities in the workforce, even when a policy purporting diversity is implemented. The workplace culture within which a diversity management policy exists must, however, be taken into consideration when examining its perceived effectiveness. It is arguable that for an effective policy, diversity management should be viewed as the framework from within which human resource management exists, and not merely an individual branch of that policy. So the implementation of diversity management policy. Prior to widespread diversity management policy implementation, there was an overall tendency to treat the workforce as a homogeneous group. This rigidity has the potential to hinder an organization's propensity to respond to change. In order for effective diversity management, the implementation needs to be holistic, align and integrate with corporate policy and commitments, and involve all levels from the top down. A robust diversity management plan and its measurable indicators requires multi-pronged implementation. How and who the policy will impact and the ways it can be effectively maintained must be addressed. As part of the human resources management process, hiring, training, development, communication, relationships, and integration are integral to planning. Ensuring the policy acknowledges and addresses those marginalized by religion, ethnicity, sexual orientation, disabilities, age, or social status is integral. Once the method of implementation and those impacted has been acknowledged, awareness and training within an organization of the diversity management process needs to be actively promoted and monitored. Monitoring can be done through audits, benchmarking, and the review process of processes and corporate culture. Positive actions and expansion programs are essential to the implementation of a diverse management plan. Once talent is obtained, maintenance and development is essential. Monitoring the percentage of visible minorities, women, and those affected by disability and their numerical representation in management positions can be an effective method of determining if a diversity management hiring plan is effective. Stakeholders, employees, institutions, and the media all have the potential to recognize positive diversity management policies and procedures. This recognition has the ability to directly influence the perception of an organization as a whole and how it is perceived to be maintaining its social responsibilities and overall reputation. So benefits. Diversity management as a workplace strategy has the potential to impact perceived inclusiveness and positively influence individual development. Acknowledging and embracing individual differences lends to an atmosphere of increased performance and productivity, a space of cooperation and learning from one another. Diversity inherently increases the variety of ideas and experiences for an organization to draw upon, which can lead to beneficial workplace changes. This variety of backgrounds has been shown to increase flexibility and adaptability. Diversity management can be viewed as part of a corporate responsibility policy to both further company interests and positively benefit society. Inclusivity as a result of a robust diversity management plan not only fosters an inclusive workplace, but also has been illustrated to open new markets for an organization. Acknowledging and the overall diversification of society as a whole is essential. The globalized world within which an organization operates inherently results in business environments where diversification of beliefs and values increases overall ability to compete. A robust diversity management plan has the potential to obtain and retain valuable organizational assets. As an example, studies have indicated that the perceptions of older workers lacking achievement motivation is not in line with findings, and that there is no measurable correlation between age and achievement motivation. A diversity management plan that addresses these discriminatory beliefs has the potential to obtain and retain talent that may otherwise have been overlooked or lost. If a workforce perceives that it and the individuals encompassed within it are being treated with respect, an inclusive, positive, more productive work environment can be achieved. So some of the challenges with a diversity management policy. Detractors of diversity management as a policy point to the difficulties of measuring its success. While possible to measure heterogeneity of a workforce, the perception of implemented policies and if they had imparted deep-level attitudinal change is more difficult to monitor. The integration of a diversity management plan requires organizational change at a deep level. Failing to support fundamental change has the potential to result in surface-only policies and tensions between groups. A challenge to diversity management is the wide variety of interpretations, as interpretation is influenced heavily by culture. When diversity management as a concept is imposed without consideration of local traditions, inherently it cannot be effective. Policy execution faces difficulties if culture is not taken into consideration. A lack of understanding translates to ineffective training and surface-only adherence to diversity management. A failure to support individuals' use of their cultural experience lends to the overall deficiency of an organization as a whole. Diversity management is not a uniform discipline. Failing to identify relevant concepts and items can result in the implementation of ineffective diversity management plan. So, in conclusion, diversity itself and its management will only continue to rise in the importance as the globalized nature of our world continues to increase. Although challenges regarding the effective implementation and maintenance of a diversity management plan are prevalent, the literature overwhelmingly illustrates the importance of a robust policy not only for competitive advantage, but also for corporate responsibility. Although essentially elusive, several definitions of a diversity management plan I've attempted to present today, how a policy is implemented, and the benefits and challenges associated with a diversity management plan as a human resource management principles were discussed. Thank you very much for listening.